Human levitation. Human levitation has always attracted the hypothetical ability to fly without the aid of any kind of aircraft. People dreamt about it, composed fairy tales, passed from mouth to mouth legends about these extraordinary flights. But are they really such legends, or does history actually know cases of flight without the aid of instruments? To begin with, we all, without exception, fly in our sleep. Flying dreams are believed to occur when the body releases a hormone responsible for growth of bones and skin cells. At the same time, to the poetic question, why don't people fly like birds? Science gives an ambiguous answer. The reason is the gravitational attraction of the Earth. Only by overcoming the force of gravity, a person can rise into the air. The founder of aerohydrodynamics wrote, "A man will fly, relying not only on the strength of his muscles, but on the strength of his mind." Handsomely put, the aphorism became the motto of the first conquerors of the fifth ocean. The phrase implies that a person will be able to overcome the force of gravity through the development of science. However, the father of Russian aviation did not even suspect how close he was to the whole truth. We are talking about a person's ability to levitate at the moment of complete liberation of the brain from the clogging its external and internal information. And while such virgin purity seems completely incredible, the facts are stubborn things. For example, in different parts of the world, there are testimonies of more than 2,000 saints who, at the time of religious trance or ecstasy, ascended above the earth. Among them are flying monks, Joseph Deza from the Italian city of Cupertino. More than 70 levitations documented by the scientists and reading persons. The Carmelite nun Saint Teresa, who spoke about an unusual gift in her autobiography. Ignatius Loyola, Saint Adolphus, and the famous Carmelite sister Maria. Joan of Arc contemporaries said that as a child, she sometimes, of her own accord, flew up in front of her friends, and when she matured, many began to pay attention on her unusually smooth and light gait. It was as if she did not walk on the ground, but hovered over it. One of the most famous levitants is the Scotsman Daniel Douglas Home. World-renowned scientists have recorded hundreds of his levitation, but he is far from the only one who puzzles scientists. So, in 1934, the Englishman Maurice Wilson, who had been training in levitation according to the Sidic methods for many years, he decided to conquer the summit of Everest with huge jumps, soaring above the ground. His frozen body was found in the mountains the following year. Wilson did not reach the summit quite a bit, but the fact that he was able to overcome the most difficult route without special climbing equipment speaks in favor of levitation. But the most cases of levitation were seen in the East. Unlike Eastern levitants, Western levitant did not specifically strive to master the art of levitation and did not prepare for flight. Usually, they soared in the air, being in a state of ecstatic religious ecstasy and not even thinking about it.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
Can you check it out?
Oh my god. Hey, Howie.
Yeah.
Hey, can you talk? Can you talk, bro?
Shit!
Oh,
Can you
got
say
my
something,
niggas
bro?
flying. Oh shit.
Why is not talking, man? You flying, man.
Oh my.
The Orientals subordinate their entire lives to the art of controlled flight. In the East, yogis, hermit saints, as well as Brahman's own levitation. In Indian Vedas, which literally means knowledge from the Sanskrit, there is an even practical guide to levitation, a kind of know-how that describes how to put yourself in such state to take off the ground. Along with India, levitation was also practiced in ancient times in Tibet. Buddhist texts say that after the Indian founder of Zen Buddhism, Bodhidharma, came to the Shaolin Monastery in 527, he taught the monks the siddhi to control the energy of body, a prerequisite for flying. Both the Buddha himself and his mentor, who remained hanging in air for hours, used levitation. It is the characteristic that both in India and in Tibet, the art of levitation has survived to this day. Many Orientalist researchers also describe the phenomenon of flying llamas. For example, the British traveler Alexandra David Neal watched with her own eyes how one Buddhist monk sitting motionless with his legs bent under him flew tens of meters on the Chiangtang high plateau. In ancient India, which has always been famous for all sorts of extravagant and mysterious things, there were people in those days who mastered levitation perfectly. These were the elect, admitted to secret knowledge. These were the Brahmans, yogi, fakirs. The number of these people in relation to the entire population of Indian subcontinent never exceeded 2%. Among them, only a few soared in the air. Apparently, mastering such an unusual business was a difficult task, even among the experienced connoisseurs of the inexhaustible possibilities of the human body. Not only the adherents of Brahmanism owned levitation, but it was also prerogative of Buddhists. As Buddhist monks performed their practice, they often descended over the long-suffering land. It was such a sensitive state that they fully perceived the teaching of the true path, Dharma. China, Japan, Nepal, these are the places where soaring in the air was a common phenomenon, and the people around did not bother. Those who mastered the skill were looked upon with respect and reverence, but not with superstitious horrors. If we look at the religious beliefs, such as Christianity, here the first mention of levitation refers to the 16th century. The Spanish Carmelite nun, Teresa of Avila, possessed this amazing gift. They told amazing things about her. She could rise a meter above the ground and hang on this position for at least 40 minutes. The Catholic Church canonized this amazing woman. However, not all because of her possession of levitation, but for more prosaic reasons. The Holy Father credited her with an invaluable contribution to the development of Carmelite spirituality and Catholic theological thought. The Italian Giuseppe Deza was also widely known in the world. Coming from a peasant family, from the age of 17 he condemned himself to the service of God. At 22, he was admitted to the Franciscan community, the conventual Lesser Brothers. Then, diligently gnawing the granite of church science, he became a priest. In this difficult field, he has established himself as an excellent spiritual mentor, sincere in faith and selfless in serving people. Giuseppe put his whole soul into his prayers, completely immersed in religious ecstasy. At such moments, the body of the priest lifted off the ground and floated in the air. This continued until the last words of God escaped his dry lips. At the end of the sermon, the zealous minister of church slowly descended and found solid support under him. Such an amazing phenomenon attracted a huge number of believers to him. Many sincerely revered Deza as a saint, but there were also those who saw in all this the intrigues of dark satanic forces. Secret denunciations followed, leading to the intervention of the Holy Inquisitions. The priest was invited to Naples and heard harsh accusations against him. But his faith in God was so great that the harsh guardians of the purity of the church rank were forced to recognize Giuseppe as innocent. Deza got off with only a change of monastery and ended up in Assisi. Here he spent 14 long years, but the flight of his soul in the rays of divine grace and in a new place invariably ended with the flight of a mortal body. The Inquisition sent Giuseppe to the Capuchin Sket, but after the intervention of Pope Alexander VII, the ordealed clergy got the opportunity to return to the Covenant of the Lesser Brothers Conventual in the town of Cupertino. Here this amazing person ended his days, under the name of Saint Joseph of Cupertine. He was canonized by Pope Clement XIII. The Orthodox Church did not pass this cup filled with mysticism mixed with a sincere faith of God and a pious way of life. In the vastness of the great Russian Empire, righteous and deeply devout people were exposed to the gift of soaring over a sinful land. Among the Russian levitants, one can name the monk Seraphim of Sarov, Basil the Blessed, Archbishop John of Novgorod and Pskov. So having taken monastic vows in the Sarov monastery in Tambov province, Seraphim retired in the forest in a cell